Okay, I've cleaned my hands a little bit, not much. I just wiped them off so I don't have any big blobs of ink on them. And I do that because if I can keep all the ink on this edge of the squeegee and not up here where my fingers are, um, the entire process is just going to be cleaner. I'll actually be cleaning my hands less frequently. So I'll take the plate, acrylic plate, place it on the double stick tape. Just make sure it's stuck down. That'll hold. Okay. Use this smaller squeegee. Place it down vertically and pull, let it bend a little bit, pull, pick up more ink than that, pick up a little bead of ink. And I go to the corner, and I'm using some pressure. I'm pressing down and smashing the ink into the recesses. Pick up a little more ink, do the same thing next to it, smashing down into the recesses. And then, after doing that, with a vertical blade, just perfectly straight up and down, with a kind of mild pressure, I scrape across. And it's removed some of the ink. But because I've had this squeegee only perfectly up and down, not angled this way or this way, just perfectly up and down when I draw, I'm only removing ink from the surface. If I were to go and scrape like this, I'd pull some out of the lines. I don't want to do that. Let me do, let's get a cross section. So to apply the ink, I'm angling the squeegee, pushing down, and smashing the ink down into the lines. To scrape the surface, I hold the blade vertically and just scrape across the top. Okay? If I go like this, it digs in and pulls out ink. So it's this alternating pattern of smashing the ink down inside the lines and then scraping across the top. Smashing ink down inside the lines, scraping across the top. Now I want to get all the way around. And I've gotten most of the plate. I have to deal with the edge a little bit. I have to be real careful with the edge, and that we can just kind of smash ink down in there. Don't have to worry about scraping the edge too much. It doesn't take a lot of ink to do this. Okay. Now I let the squeegee hang off the edge a little bit and scrape. And as it builds up, yeah, I can see a bead building up on the edge. Then I can just slowly start moving the squeegee in. And deposit the excess ink back in my pile. This is the final scrape. Again, a very, very vertical squeegee blade. I don't want to go past vertical, otherwise I'm removing ink that I don't want to remove. I keep the thing straight up and down. And when you're learning this, it's pretty messy. But as you build some skill of hand, it gets less messy. Okay, so I've scraped as much as I can from a practical standpoint off the top. I take my tarlatan, and I think tarlatan, when it's clean like this, doesn't wipe as well, and when it's totally clogged, it doesn't wipe as well. So I have just a ritual where the little bit left on the glass plate, I just clean up. I just dirty the tarlatan a little bit because this ink will help pull up the ink. And in a circular motion, I tend to wipe the edges first. And I'm not pressing hard, I'm not lifting, I'm not pressing, I'm just kind of letting my arm fall, like my arm fell asleep. That's about the weight that I'm using. I tend to like to go in multiple directions. And sometimes at first it doesn't seem like anything's happening. Check the tarlatan. If it starts getting, that's okay. That's not clogged. But if it starts getting clogged with ink, you can just take a wipe on a clean piece of phone book. So I'm focusing on the edge a little bit because this whole thing is clear. This shouldn't print, so I can spend a little time on that edge and watch that haze go away. It's not going to go away completely, but I can do some, yeah, get rid of some of it. There we go. And then just do a bunch of horizontal wipes all the way up the plate, a bunch of vertical wipes. And what I'm doing is I'm doing this all over until I see the highlight start to come out. There's only so much you can do with this tarlatan, but that's pretty good. This is a cooperative plate and cooperative ink. So I'm going to just place this to the side, someplace I know that's clean. Get a new sheet, a phone book page. I'm going to wipe the edges. And the thing is, I'm not going to turn my finger sideways and wipe the edge. I'm like wiping right here more than anything and letting the edge of my finger just bump up against the edge of the plate. And then move my finger down and get a new, fresh piece, clean piece of phone book page. Now there's little lines. Okay, that's pretty clean. I'm just going to do that all the way around. It just sort of sets me up for success for the next step. Again, this is only so much I can teach you. You have to develop a feel. And they're little marks, so I've pulled up some little blobs of ink that were on the side. Turn this over, and with a flat hand, I'm going to wipe the entire surface and make those highlights really pop. That's really all I'm looking to do, is make those highlights pop. And I'm using this part of my hand or this part of my hand. Anything I can stretch out and keep flat. I don't want to use my fingertips, because fingertips are going to dip down into those grooves and remove ink. And we're just trying to remove ink from the surface, not down in the grooves. My hands are pretty dry, so I'm kind of slipping here. Using a glove will help your hand stick to the paper. And that highlights out pretty good. With Drypoint, there are kind of some fuzzy lines. There's a little one under the chin, and I'm just spend a little bit of time there making sure that's clean. And since this is totally white, I want to make sure that this edge is clean. And see, I didn't remove a lot of ink. I just got rid of the highlights, or polished the highlights. Now our other squeegee, we're using to pull this thing up off the double stick tape. And what I like to do, when I'm proofing earlier states, I don't wipe the edge, because I figure it's not worth my time. I just want to see what the main image looks like. But now that I have the final state that I like, I use a cotton cloth and I polish the edge. See all that ink that came off? Once I've gone all the way around and that edge is clean, Then I'm ready to print. Okay, that's ready to print.